Some Spark employers are outraged after 1,900 staff were given 1 working week to sign new employment contracts or leave. The telco says it's part of a long-term transition that will improve the company's efficiency and actually empower their workers. One employment law expert says Spark hasn't followed protocol.
The law requires is there should be a long consultation process. They claim they've done that. I'd like to know how long they've had the employment agreement. And the question is, the law would look at, was it a genuine redundancy?
Spark has given around 1,900 staff 1 working week to sign new employment contracts or leave the company. The telco says the move is part of a long-term transition that will improve the company's efficiency and actually empower their workers. Here to talk about it from an employment law perspective is Max Whitehead. Max, good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So 40% of their staff, 1,900 people, that's quite a few people affected by this, isn't it?
That's huge. That is an enormous amount of people, and it's significant. And the thing is, when people collect like that, and a lot of people are getting affected at once, they just seem to go with the flow. And I'm quite concerned about this because they were told 5 days. Yes,
5 days. Even Sparks was saying it is a tight time frame, but they preface that by saying they have been consulting for a few months on the system. Is this just the signing of the paperwork at the very end of it?
What they've said is 5 days. You've got to either accept the new contract or accept redundancy. You know, take it or leave it, more or less. Now, what the law requires is there should be a long consultation process. They claim they've done that. I'd like to know how long they've had the employment agreement. And the question is, the law would look at, was it a genuine redundancy? Was it a genuine redundancy? That's a really key thing. And the law can look at that. And they've got to be able to engage with the employees. Now, to me, a lot of those jobs would just be a variation of contract.
Right, so the company is saying that a move to an agile workforce, or these agile teams that they talk about, same hours, same sort of role that you're actually performing. It's the name of the job title that might change, or the hierarchy of the system. Where do you draw the line as to what actually makes it a big enough difference to change a contract?
The word I would use would have to be a substantive change to justify a redundancy. So my view is it's probably contestable. I think those individuals who've got a similar job with a different title, who've been going to be made redundant, could challenge it. And obviously some want to go and some don't want to go. But those individuals, if it's just a variation of contract, as I think a lot of it might be, they should engage. The employer has a legal obligation in good faith to engage with them individually. Now, it's a massive job. That's a lot of people. But goodness me, that's jobs. That's mum and dads. That's, you know, little kiddies are getting fed out of those jobs. So they should be treated with dignity.
There is the opportunity, obviously, you can sign the contract. If you're happy with it, you can have redundancy. Is there a third option that Spark could consider here?
Well, they should consider just engaging with them, I think, for longer. Those individuals probably don't have a union representation, and they're just going with the flow because they don't think they have other options. I hope the end of today that they've discovered there is other options out there for them, and Spark could be just, they should engage with them properly and talk to them and try and find ways to, you know, maybe it is just a variation of contract. What I see their driver is they want to reduce labour costs. So their primary option is let's reduce our costs.
Although they won't if everybody signs the contract, will they? They'll still have the same number of people employed.
No, a lot of people got to go. So there's a lot of people going to lose their job. But what they're saying is if you sign the contract, we're going to save a lot of... So the proportion are going to go, and a lot of people will be retained, but on less wages, I assume, less salaries.
Do we have to get used to the concept that workers are going to have to get used to this disrupted sort of digital industry, that workers across a wide range of industries can expect they'll move to an agile system?
Well, every workplace has got to be flexible. Well, it is flexible these days, and people are getting more and more used to that. I mean, the new laws in terms of collective bargaining, that's going to probably slow that down a bit. So flexibility is a really big point, and that's what we've noticed day by day. I mean, your industry's renowned for it. People face change. Well, look at you.
We're good. Thanks, Max. That's good. Hey, Max, really appreciate your time this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Remember, if you want to send us your feedback this morning, you can go to our Facebook page. It's Breakfast on One on Facebook, or flick us an email, breakfast@tvnz.co.nz.
Alrighty, coming up in the next...